Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the greatest YouTube channel in Eastern Central Africa, Mr. President TV. I am Mr. President. Um, I am quite excited about today's topic. Forget to subscribe because I will be here to remind you. Anyway, I'm kidding. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. And today we are talking about what's going on around the world. As you know, recently Russia invaded Ukraine, and people have been talking about this issue so much. But I realized something recently. Many people do not really understand how this war started. Why is Russia invading Ukraine? What we all know is Russia is invading Ukraine, but what we do not know is why. Why are these people doing this? That is where I come in. Today, I am going to give you a brief history of why Russia is invading Ukraine right now. Now, Russia and Ukraine go way back. They have a lot of history together, and I won't delve into the 18th centuries and whatever, but I will start with the 20th century. Now, in the year 1922, Russia and Ukraine became one country. I know you are asking yourself how. Now, we had this great nation, union of nation called, it was called the United Soviet Socialist Republic. I know many of you have heard of USSR. And the USSR was made of 15 countries, and Russia and Ukraine were part of the USSR. So these people were one country in the past, in the year 1922, shortly after the First World War. Now, these people lived in peace, and in that USSR, we had two powerful, let me call them provinces or rather districts because they became one country. We had the Ukraine and the Russia. Russia and Ukraine were the two most powerful countries in the USSR. But later on, what happened to the USSR? What made these people, to separate, and what led to what we're experiencing right now? Now, in the year, now, let me give you, and then after, the First World War, we had the Second World War, and we had the Cold War, which almost became the Third World War. Now, in the year 1991, the USSR collapsed. All the 15 countries became independent countries. Russia and Ukraine became independent. And what exactly led to the collapse of the USSR? Um, as usual, all our problems revolve around money. The USSR had invested heavily in the military to the extent that the economy started, collapsing. They were channeling all their resources to the military because they were preparing to fight the US. When I talk about the Cold War, for those who do not know, the Cold War is simply, you know, tension, military tension between two countries, and then it was the United States of America and the USSR. They were the two most powerful countries in the world then. But as I told you, um, they collapsed. I mean, the USSR collapsed in the year 1991 because of financial constraints. So Ukraine and Russia became independent, of course, and Ukraine inherited the nuclear warheads that the 15 countries had invested in for the last, since from 1922 to 1991, all those years. Ukraine inherited the nuclear warheads, but later on in the year 1994, they gave up the nuclear warheads to Russia in exchange for protection. Russia promised to protect Ukraine should there be any fight, any should war, should there be an outbreak of war. Russia would be there to protect Ukraine, and these two countries became friends, and for quite some time until the year 2014. So what happened in 2014? let me talk about Crimea, whatever. I'm not a Ukrainian, so I don't understand. I don't know the correct pronunciation of this district, but I'm sure you must have heard Crimea being mentioned in this war. So Crimea, that district originally belonged to, you know, Russia, but in the year 1954, Russia gave that territory to Ukraine because they were friends. I told you they were one country. But in 2014, that was 1954. In 2014, something happened. The then president of Ukraine was, kicked out of office. Why? Ukraine was supposed to join the EU, the European Union. But then president, who was called Viktor Yanukovych, did not want Ukraine to join the EU. What did he do? He decided to sign a pact with Russia because this president had a soft spot for Russia. When I talk about a soft spot, I mean he kind of liked Russia, and to some extent he was Russia's puppet. Victor was elected in 2010 to 2014. So when he refused, or rather when he turned down the offer to join the European Union, um, his countrymen were angered, they were heartbroken, and they decided to protest against this president. When it reached a point whereby this man could not handle the protests, and he decided to quit. He fled to Russia, to Moscow, of course, where you know Moscow was his friend. Moscow is the capital of Russia. And so what happened when the president, who was a friend to Russia, was kicked out of office? Russia was angered. Their puppet had been removed from office. Victor, the president of Ukraine, their puppet had been kicked out of office, and they were not happy about that. So what happened? Russia decided to reclaim Crimea, which was theirs originally. uh, they decided to reclaim it. So they sent their soldiers to Crimea. It is a territory which is close to Russia. Russia and Ukraine share a borderline. So they sent their troops there and they reclaimed Crimea. So that is when the war between Ukraine and Russia really started. These people have been fighting for 8 years, but they have not been involved in active war. Just that Russia seizing that territory from them and that tension. So why did Putin decide to attack Russia? I mean, why did Putin decide to attack Ukraine in 2022? Why 2022? Why did he do it in 2018, 2019? Why 2022? So this is what happened. Um, Ukraine was contemplating, rather was thinking about joining NATO or NATO, whichever you choose to call it. So NATO is a military alliance between several European countries together with the United States of America, which was formed shortly after the Second World War. The Second World War was between 1939 and 1945. Yeah. So shortly after the Second World War, the leaders of these countries that formed NATO thought, why don't we form a military alliance so that we can help each other? Should there be another war in future? Because as you can see, we had the First World War in 1914 to 1918, then the Second World War in 1939 to 1945, and the probability of having another war was very high, actually. So the NATO nations decided to form a military alliance, and embedded in their roles was the fact that should any country be attacked, should any member of NATO be attacked by any other country, all the NATO members would come in to support that country. So because Putin, Vladimir Putin, had been attacking Ukraine once in a while. So he saw that move by Ukraine to join NATO as a threat to him. That is why he decided to attack it. Now, secondly, uh, Putin, or rather Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, is a strong believer of the fact that Ukraine and Russia have great ancestral ties. I've told you about their history, and he's one guy who believes that they should be one country, because when you look at the population of Ukraine, 29% of Ukrainians speak Russian, are native Russians. So Putin believes that Russia and Ukraine should be one country because of those ancestral ties. Now, thirdly, in the year 2019, the current president of Ukraine was elected. He's called Volodymyr Zelensky. He was elected into office, and this man, the president of Zelensky, is 100% anti-Russia. He wants nothing to do with Russia, and that is in fact why he was elected. He was elected because the citizens saw many Ukrainians do not want to be part of Russia, but that is why this president, um, while campaigning, people saw that he was against Russia, and they decided to elect him. In fact, he won 73% of the Ukrainian votes. And so this guy, because he's 100% anti-Russia, you know, he's not a friend of Russia. So that is another reason. And lastly, or rather, the reasons are many, but I'll add another one. The Russians, 90% of the Russians support Putin. 90% of the Russians think Ukraine and Russia should be one. So that 90% support that Putin receives from the Russians makes him think, strong. Because if my people think I should do this, why don't I do it? So, so Ukraine is a powerful country, as I told you Ukraine and Russia were the most powerful countries in the USSR. So why are they crying out for help? We've seen the president of Zelensky crying out to the world, requesting NATO to come and help. Why? Yet Ukraine is a powerful country. Yes, Ukraine is a powerful country, but it is nothing compared to Russia. When I talk about, when you look at their military strength, they have about 450,000 military men, or rather soldiers. On the other hand, Russia has about 3 million, good 3 million soldiers. So even if Russia decides to send a quarter of its army to Ukraine, I swear those Ukrainians will be beaten mercilessly. That is why every man between the age of 18 to 60 right now has been requested not to leave Ukraine, because Ukrainian army needs as much support as possible. They need to use literally every man who can handle a rifle. Now, I will talk about something else. Recently in the UN, Kenya strongly condemned, Ukraine's, or rather Russia's move to attack Ukraine. Let me use a better term so that I can look intelligent. Kenya lambasted, you know, I know I look intelligent, thank you. No, Russia lambasted, Kenya lambasted Russia for, you know, attacking Ukraine. And there have been rumors on social media that Putin he told Kenyans should concentrate on fighting starvation in their country. I've tried to verify that one, but I haven't been in a position to do so. But as usual, Kenyans didn't keep quiet. We as Kenyans always have something to say about, everything, literally everything. And Kenyans took to the social media, the Kenyans on Twitter. Now, let me introduce you to the Kenyans on Twitter. Kenyans on Twitter is a group of, is a squad, or rather, of keyboard warriors who will stop at nothing to defend this country should there be a social media attack. In fact, someone was jokingly telling me that should a social media world war break out, then no one will beat Kenya. Kenyans on Twitter because we have our elite army. Now, Kenyans took to the social media to respond to Putin, and I will read some of their reactions on on Twitter. What they had to say about this whole thing, and it was an interesting thread. Uh, now. So we had one person who was saying, "We as Kenyans are ready to die for Ukraine. If Putin is man enough, he should first send his missiles over here." This is the map of Kenya. So someone actually dared, someone Kenyan on Twitter dared, Putin to send his forces to, to Kenya. Then someone was posted a picture of eggs, boiled eggs mixed with beans or maharagwe, and said that me preparing myself to go help Ukraine with the nuclear bomb. So he was preparing his nuclear bomb. So as we know about maharagwe and boiled eggs, when you eat that concoction, that combination, then you won't sleep, you will fart the whole night. Anyway, someone else was saying, there was this lady who was saying that, who wants to take my virginity before they send me to fight in Ukraine? That was quite hilarious. Then some young man somewhere who has 5 years experience in mini militia was saying that he is ready to join the war. Then someone else was saying, Wakudze, hatuogopi, we'll let our brothers from Kitui handle the matter traditionally. So someone was saying that our brothers from Kitui would use African chemistry. That is not witchcraft, we call it African chemistry. Or, witchcraft is a technology, a type of technology which is so advanced to the extent that it can't be explained. That is why it's called witchcraft. So that African chemistry would be used to, to combat, or rather to send the missiles back to Russia. And but some people had different views. We had someone who was saying, "Thank you, Martin Kimani. Vladimir Putin didn't know that Kenya exists, but he has now added us to his missiles dashboard." So someone was saying, "Hey, you've brought problems to us." Then someone else was also saying, "Ati Kenya is warning Russia against attacking Ukraine. Please, Russia, whoever issued that warning doesn't represent Kenya. He typed wrongly. It was a congratulation message on your endeavors in Ukraine. Do your thing, master." So this guy was saying that, we cannot handle this. Then we have one last comment from someone who was requesting Putin. He was saying, "Don't take what Kenya said in the UN very seriously. We wanted to scare Somalia. We love you so much more." Yeah, this guy was sending kisses to Putin. "Don't think about anything. Your girls are very beautiful compared to Ukraine." Then this person had something to say to Kenyans. "Na nyinyi muache jokes. Sitawatetea tena next time." That was interesting. Now, Kenya, as I was going through the social media today, I saw someone claiming that, Kenya should help Ukraine. Let me tell you something about Ukraine and Kenya. Kenya has 24,100 military men, or rather soldiers. Ukraine has 450,000 soldiers. How can we even help them? They're already well off without us, and this fight, we should not be part of it. Anyway, I'm still researching on this war. I will bring you updates. I will bring you latest news about the war. And should there be any question, any comment, just let me know under the comment section. And as usual, don't remember to subscribe, because I will be here to remind you. But no, make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much. My name is Mr. President.